Hello, welcome to Pop Culture Shark, a live stream podcast about anything and everything pop culture. I'm Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
We have a big show for you today. We're gonna try to experiment something I'm very excited about. But before we get to that, Caleb, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's been a weird day, just because there's some major things happening at the church, and still having to get used to my new Sunday routine to get ready for my job that I started about 2 months ago. So still kind of getting all nice and cozy in that job. Uh, as far as some pop culture things, I've been playing a lot of The Old Republic. I've gotten back into that game pretty heavily. Um, Still haven't finished Skyward Sword. Um, it's one of those games that, like, it's fun when I play it, but like I don't have the desire to play it as much as I did the other Zelda games, so I'm still making my way through that. Um, been watching Evo this weekend, which we'll talk about that here in a little bit, and I just got done watching this video by GameSpot that was really cool. It's called "I Heart Final Fantasy VII." And it really reminds me of that. Do you remember that Nintendo Life video that you sent me before we did kind of our favorite video game gush session with Cameron, like the Earthbound one?
Yeah, it was like Mother's Day something.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
mother we
yeah,
share or something like that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it really reminds me of that. It's not as long, but it's really cool because you got like Brad Ellis from Easy Allies, the completionist is on there, Maximilian Dude, who's my favorite YouTuber.
Mhm.
And they're all just gushing about Final Fantasy VII. It's a really cool watch, and it's kind of made me want to think like maybe we need to have another gush session. I don't know, like just pick some games to talk about and just completely gush about them. I don't know. It's always fun to have that positivity, but
Nice.
yeah. What about you?
The only game I've played lately was I think it was last week. I was playing a little Death Road to Canada. That's just one of my favorite little indie games just to pick up and play. Um, have I told you about that one? I don't
No,
remember
yeah,
if
no. Mm-mm.
Okay. It's kind of a mix between like a beat 'em up and like Oregon Trail. Um, so like you will you're on your way to Canada, try to get away from the zombies, and so it'll switch like a text screen. It'll say you're driving down the road. You have a chance to stop at a Walmart or a hotel. Where do you want to stop? And so you click one, and so then it switches to like actual gameplay. So you jump out of the car, and it's like little crude like graphics, but you jump out and fight the zombies, and you're like looking for supplies like food and gas and whatever. And then you got to jump back in the car before it gets too dark. Um,
I have. I'm looking this up right now. I've never heard of this game. Wow,
it's so much fun
it looks
because
fun.
you don't know what's going to happen. Like it'll be like, oh, the text parts are what makes it fun in between the levels because it's like,
Yeah.
oh no, there's bandits up ahead. What do you do? And you don't know what your traits your characters have in your party. You can have up to 4 people in your party. Um, so maybe someone I can't remember what the trait is, but it's something like they're smart and they can outsmart the bandits. But if you don't know what that trait is, you might pick the idiot of the group to go try to outsmart the bandits, and he might lose all your food. Um,
Oh, is this a roguelike?
Kinda. I mean, the levels are randomly generated,
Okay,
um,
so it's kind of like Hades or Returnal.
or like Enter the Gungeon, that type of
Yeah.
thing. But like I said, the text parts are what's fun, and they have familiar character mode. Well, first off, you can design your own characters. So like I could put you in the game and whatever, and
Okay.
so you can be going down the street and says, "Oh, there's Caleb. Do you want him to join your party?" And he'll jump in the car, and then if you die, then I just keep going until I find someone else. Um, So I usually play as Mario and Luigi just to start always. I designed them. They was kind of like Mario and Luigi. Um, and since Mario's a surgeon, he starts with a scalpel. It's fun. It's Dr. Mario. Um,
This game
but
was
they
hilarious.
but they have familiar character mode where it's all parody characters you run into. Like there's a Jason Voorhees, but his name is Mason. He is hilarious. If you get him, it is so funny because like your characters can get sad and depressed, like if they're running out of food, and when that happens, like all heck will break loose because everybody starts turning on each other. Um, so it'll say like Mason's depressed, and so then it says next level. Emily went missing. We don't know what happened to her, but Mason's real happy now. We don't know what happened. And then Mason, he died. Like the zombies got him. I was like, oh well. No, at least he won't be killing my people. Also, the next level, he's back in the car. I was like, wait, what? So lots of fight stuff. There's like a Power Rangers level where I had to rescue all the Power Rangers. Just totally bizarre stuff. And I've played through the game probably 20 or 30 times now. It is different every time I've played it. I've ran into new scenarios every time. And it's just really funny.
So what you're saying is that if Netflix really wants to make a zombie show, they should get a hold of this IP.
Oh yeah, this would be a great like comedy zombie romp. This would be great.
What if they made it a teen drama?
Okay. Well, I mean, you're talking like, let's say Death Row to Canada had like established characters that were really
Yeah.
popular. And then when you made the Netflix show, you made these like the children of one of the established characters that we had never heard of and focus on them.
It's the
instead
children of Mason Voorhees.
Yeah, the children. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. We'll get to that later. Yeah, we'll be talking about Resident Evil Netflix series here at the end. Excuse me.
Oh, he's got the T virus.
Yeah, hold on a second. Okay, sorry, I had to cough.
It's the T virus.
It is. Yeah, I've got it. As for what else I've been doing, the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Turtles movie came out on Netflix. I am not a huge Rise fan, but I went ahead and gave this a chance. This is a really good movie.
Okay.
My issue with it is the same issue I had with the Rise of the TMNT show. I don't recognize these turtles. Their personalities are all over the place.
Okay.
Raphael acts like Leonardo. Leonardo acts like Michelangelo. Michelangelo acts like a scared turtle. Splinter's just a goofball. So I don't like personality wise. It's always hard for me to lock onto. But this whole movie it's pretty cool. Involves time travel. Casey Jones coming from a future where all the turtles are killed, and he's trying to prevent it. And it's a lot about Leonardo being a goofball and about how he needs to mature if he's going to become the leader of the TMNT. So,
okay, so it's one of those things where it's one of those I don't like this character, but in that's the kind of the point, and in the long run, it's character development.
Yeah.
That's a risky thing, and I've only seen it work twice.
Yeah, that's a risky thing when you're casting two sisters of a main Resident Evil character and you can't stand either of them, and they start a zombie breakout, outbreak or whatever.
Yeah. So the only time I've ever seen that, because I mean, we all hated Damien at first, whenever he became Robin, but now Damien, spoiler alert, Damien's my favorite Robin. And then Ahsoka, of course. I remember everyone hated Ahsoka whenever the Clone Wars first came out, and now she's arguably A, the most popular female character, and B, possibly the most popular Jedi.
And that happened on Stranger Things. I cannot think of the guy's name. Season 1, he was a jerk, and then he became beloved.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the way Stranger Things was written, though, I was like, oh, they're gonna make him like the star of the show. I could tell the way it was written. Like there's some shows like Avatar: Last Airbender where you're introduced to Prince Zuko, you're like, oh, he's gonna become part of their team by the end of this, you know.
Oh yeah.
Um, so
Well, see, whenever Stranger Things first came out, I actually thought that he was going to be the jerk boyfriend who ended up dying, and that was not the case because I was viewing it as a horror movie
mhm.
more than anything else. Now they eventually did do that with
Hold on, I haven't seen the new season.
no
Oh,
no
oh,
no
you talking about you talking about Billy?
Billy, yeah,
Yeah, I loved
yeah.
Billy on there. He was acting his butt off by the end of that when he was
Oh
like
yeah.
trying to kill him, but he was crying at the same time. Oh, so
Oh
good.
man. And he's the Red Ranger in the Power Rangers movie.
Yeah. Ta-da.
There's some range.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get to some news. Um, Warner Brothers had their big what's it called, quarterly call this week, and Disney's is this week, so that should be interesting. I don't know if we'll get any news out of that one, but Warner Brothers was there was a lot of news about the future plans for the streaming service. It sounds like eventually HBO Max and Discovery are going to kind of merge. Um, but the biggest news everybody's talking about is they canceled a bunch of movies. The biggest one being Batgirl. Um, so, Caleb, how do you feel about Batgirl getting canceled?
Um, so I was very much indifferent about the film coming out in general. Um, my only issue is the fact that it was almost done. Um, and there comes a point where it's like if it's almost done, just go ahead and release it. It wasn't one that I was particularly excited for. I was definitely going to watch it because I watch everything DC and um, but as far as keeping up with it, I really didn't keep up with it. I had no idea who the villain was supposed to be. I think Michael Keaton was in it. I don't know. Um,
So here's my theory about what really happened, and not a
okay.
lot of people are talking about this because the two reasons you're hearing is either the movie was so bad we couldn't release it, or it had to do with they have to save so much money at the company by a certain date, and so they killed it as a tax write off, knowing they were going to lose money on this.
Here's the
Uh,
thing. I don't think it's so bad they couldn't release it.
no,
Because Sony released Morbius twice.
yeah, but well, here's the difference between Sony and Warner Brothers and AT&T is Warner Brothers is heavily in debt.
Yeah.
They have to start turning a profit. Um, but here's what I think happened. I think this all has to do with the Flash movie. I think that because this movie is supposed to spin out of the Flash movie, and they cannot release this movie until the Flash comes out. They don't know when the Flash is coming out because of Ezra Miller. That's number one. Number two, and this is where my speculation is going to kick in. I think Michael Keaton is so mad about the Ezra Miller situation that he said, "Forget it, I'm out."
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, Flash is super delayed for reshoots right now. They're killing Batgirl because they're like, well, we'd have to reshoot all this if Michael Keaton's not going to do Flash the reshoots because we set it up in Flash, so we can't do it here. And what's happening with Aquaman 2, where Michael Keaton was supposed to show up? They're reshooting of Ben Affleck instead right now. So I think Michael Keaton is the reason this got killed.
Which I don't blame him for it either.
No,
Like,
I don't blame him either because, he's had a very successful career and they had to beg him to come back to be Batman in these. And then it's been nothing but a headache since it's happened. So I could just see him saying, no, I don't, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't need to be in these movies if you're going to, have all this Ezra Miller mess.
there was a quote that I remember seeing, but I don't specifically remember, but I remember he said that I don't have time to finish these silly superhero movies or something like that.
Well, he was talking about watching them,
What
but
was he
yeah,
talking about watching? Oh, okay.
yeah. But yeah, he doesn't. it's not a big deal to him. As big as it is for the fans to hear that he's coming back as Batman, it's not that big a deal to him. So I just feel that this is why this has gotten canceled. Now, the rumor is that sometime this week or next week, you will see massive layoffs all over the place at WB. Will that mean the comic book division? Will that mean the animation division? Movies? Who knows? Um, one of the rumors is there's some other stuff that might be on the chopping block. Those include the Blue Beetle movie, um, the Harley Quinn cartoon, uh, Titans, Doom Patrol, and I think there was one more. Oh, there was some Green Lantern show that's not even off the ground yet. That's probably dead now.
Yeah, I remember them talking about an HBO Max Green Lantern show.
And
Honestly, oh, go ahead.
the Arrowverse is also ending.
Yes.
I think that's a great thing. I think that ran its course about 5 years ago. so, um, and if you know what I just thought, if that's dying, then that probably means Powerpuff Girls is also dead because it was supposed to be part of the Arrowverse.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, I remember reading that script and I'm like, oh my god, like
I saw the pictures. I was like, what?
um but oh my gosh, there is a an ice cream truck right outside our apartment complex
I
and
cannot hear it.
you can't.
No.
Okay, I can, and it's annoying me. Anyway, yeah, I think the only one of those that I'm like really like bummed about not getting is the Blue Beetle movie.
Yeah.
I was really hoping for that, and I love the actor in Cobra Kai, so I thought he was going to do a really good job. It would be cool to have like because the way I picture it is that Blue Beetle is DC's answer to Spider Man.
Well, at least the
Um,
modern Blue Beetle is. Yeah.
yeah. Jaime Reyes is kind of like their answer to Miles Morales,
Yeah.
um, and so I was really hoping for that. So I definitely hope that it's not. Um, I hope that it's not on the chopping block, but honestly, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, and
Um,
I know some people are mad about this. I don't know why, because I'm like, most of y'all didn't even know Batgirl was coming out till they announced it was dead.
yeah,
um, uh, but there's a new guy running the show, and he's inherited this mess, and he has to fix it, and you can't fix it until you take the burning train off the tracks and replace it.
you
so
you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs first.
yeah, so this is him saying, okay, we're going to fix DC. We got to clean up this mess first and then kind of relaunch. The only things I think are going to really go forward from the old regime is Joker 2. And then I assume Matt Reeves is Batman 2, although I've heard he's not happy about that because the way the contract is set up is that, what's his name? Robert uh,
Pattinson.
Pattinson, he's only allowed to be in those Batman movies. You can't use that character in a Justice League movie or anywhere else. So if you're trying to make a cinematic Marvel universe, that's frustrating that you're cut off from this character, the most popular character. So you're going to have to introduce another Batman movie with a different character or Batfleck or whatever. Um,
So Reeves is upset that he can't be
no, no,
used.
no. Zaslav, the new owner, is upset
Oh,
that you have this franchise that I can't, if we're going to build this new DC cinematic universe, I can't touch Batman because the way his contract's set up, he's only allowed to be in those Batman movies.
which also good for the fans, because I think that's really what I think. what DC needs to do. And of course, it's easy to like give advice and give your opinions from the outside, you know. Um, but what I would like them to do is focus more on these standalone movies rather than try to make a whole universe. Um,
So I agree. I what frustrates me about DC is they have a blueprint to do this, and it was called the Bruce Timm versus Justice League universe. Eventually, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Um, I think my internet just hiccuped for a second there, uh, but they have the template of how to do this, so they need to launch with Superman movie and a Batman movie and make them really good. Get Superman 100% correct, and then you could do a couple of secondary characters and then slowly build similar to what Marvel did, and eventually you could do Justice League. um maybe launch with Superman and Batman, and then you could do like something younger and start setting up your Teen Titans or whatever. So that's just me. I Superman and Batman are your flagship characters, and when you got Superman wrong and you don't seem to care about him, that's a problem. And
yeah,
I think Marvel is kind of entering a similar phase where they're not focusing on their heavy hitters; they're focusing on all these secondary characters, and it's the brand is suffering. So you got to focus on your main characters.
yeah, it's rough to see. I I don't know how. I'm not saying that I know how to make a Superman movie, you know? So like I don't know how they would do it, but like there's got to be someone that like knows the specifics and like how to do it well.
Well, I mean, again, we have a a great Superman movie that was made in the '70s as an example of how to do it.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, and someone I was listening to the other day said Superman has to be a movie about hope, and if your movie has no hope, it's Superman, it's not going to work. But if you give the audience hope, especially if everything that's going on in the world right now, they'll tune in droves.
Oh yeah.
So we shall see what happens next with WB. We shall see what happens with Disney this week. Um, oh, the other thing they made perfectly clear in this is that the current streaming model does not work of sending movies straight to theater and straight to streaming, and not focusing on DVD sales, not letting your show be on demand, and not letting your movie be shopped around to other streaming services before it comes home. You're costing yourself a lot of money by cutting all that out. So you're going to see that change at Warner Brothers. I think Disney is probably going to do something very similar.
I hope
So
so cuz I'd like to get The Mandalorian on Blu-ray already.
yeah, yeah. I don't know why there's this mentality that physical media is dead, but there's still an audience out there for all that stuff. It may not be as big right now, but it's still there. But that's a whole other debate about physical versus digital. Maybe we'll do a show about that one night.
Yeah. It's not really a
Um,
debate cuz I think we pretty much agree.
the big issue comes down to at any moment they can remove these movies from your digital library or from the streaming service or change them or whatever. And it's nice to just have something that's yours. They cannot take away from your altar, and there's just something very nice about that.
Yeah. I mean like how am I supposed to get you to watch The Astronaut Farmer if it's not streaming?
I found it. It's on this. What was it? Canopy service, Canopy streaming. I don't
Never
know.
heard of it.
Yeah, Canopy with a K. Uh,
Okay.
oh, I'm supposed to make you watch something tonight. Okay. All right. All right. All right. Let's move on from Warner Brothers. Let's talk about Evo. Now, is this a fighting game tournament? Because I'm out of
Yes.
the loop. Okay.
Yes, so Evo 2022. This is a big deal for people in my circle. I love fighting games. The great Tokido has said um, fighting games are something so great. Um, I think we're lagging out a little bit right now, but yeah, I lagged out, didn't I?
You sounded fine to me. I don't know what you're seeing over there, but I didn't hear any issues.
Oh, perfect. Okay, cool. Um, so yeah, Evo is this weekend. We've already had several announcements, several winners. Um, there are rumors that hopefully we'll be getting Capcom versus SNK3 announced tonight. A sequel to Fatal Fury, the Mark of the Wolves, and just so so much getting announced for each individual game. Um, I just wanted to take the opportunity to talk about it because it's something that I really love. And so those are kind of like the rumors and speculations. Other announcements are less interesting to people who aren't like in the scene. That being like rollback netcode and different tours being announced. Um, but yeah, so we have already have our winners for Grand Blue, Dragon Ball, Mortal Kombat 11. That was a surprise, by the way. There was no announcement for a new Mortal Kombat, which
That ties
yeah,
into the
that
WB
yeah, it
chaos
ties
behind
into
the scenes. They don't know what's going to
right,
happen right now.
right. Which would yeah, like I said, it kind of ties into that. Which I don't know. It's kind of upsetting because I talk about how Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is my favorite fighting game, but Mortal Kombat in general is just my favorite fighting game series. And so for it to be in kind of a stagnant place, it's kind of upsetting. Um,
Mortal Kombat's been in way worse situations in the past, so this is not too
yeah,
bad right now.
yeah, right. I'm just afraid that we'll be heading back to that where we don't get a game for 5 or 6 or 7 years. Uh, but yeah, no, you're right. We are definitely not in an era of Armageddon or
Or Jack's, was it special missions or whatever it is?
yeah.
Which has, if you, for the audience, if you've never seen the intro to that game, please go watch it.
What was it? Special Forces. That's what it
Yeah,
was.
Special Forces.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat Special Forces. Or go watch the live action cutscenes for Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub Zero. They're
Yeah,
really, they're really funny.
I've been watching a lot of Matt McMuscles, and he talks about those all the time. So
But yeah. So yeah, I think currently right now, I think Tekken is going on, Tekken 7, which I'm not huge into Tekken, but come 8 o'clock, that's whenever Street Fighter starts, and I will definitely be tuning in. That's whenever we're hopefully going to be getting the announcement for Capcom versus SNK2. I'm sorry, 3. And then we'll probably be getting more information on Street Fighter 6, which Street Fighter 6 is currently, doing very well in the tests, which is a good sign because a lot of people have not been happy with how Street Fighter 5 has been ran. So it's good to see. Oh, speaking of Warner Brothers as well, Multiverses was also
mhm.
at Evo, and the tests are doing really well. People are loving that game. Um, that honestly, that's really weird that that's the game that comes out during all this turmoil is their Smash Brothers ripoff.
Yeah, it's got a lot of characters from a lot of franchises. Although LeBron James being in the game annoys me,
I think
but
it's funny.
I mean, I guess.
No, the thing that annoys me is the Iron Giant because the Iron Giant's not supposed to fight.
Well, if he's like damaged or his program is kicking in, I guess he would. But yeah, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. He's a pacifist. So
Hmm.
um, yeah, I saw something about you were talking about netcode earlier. I saw something about the Ninja Turtle collection that's coming out. Has all those old
Yeah.
tournament fighters. It's going to have all new netcode on there that they were fixing
Hmm.
it up. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. We were. So I'm a part of we have a Louisville Lexington fighting game group on Facebook, and we've been talking about that. We're like, so are we picking this up? Because at the first tournament post COVID, which was it was an underground tournament, invitation only, called Cosmic Underground.
Hmm.
That was whenever Guilty Gear Strive first came out. My brother actually ended up winning that tournament. Shout outs to Cameron. He's ridiculous at fighting games. We actually had a mystery tournament, and the mystery game ended up being Tournament Fighters on the Super Nintendo.
Nice.
And so we're talking about like, oh, it's coming out. We should like make this an actual thing. And so I'm like, yeah, I need my run back because the person who eliminated me from that tournament was actually Cam. I was using Leonardo because Leonardo is basically the Ryu of that game.
Hmm.
And Cameron, what he did was he got on the internet right before it started, and he's just like he looked up the tier list and who's like the good characters, and apparently the two really good characters, and I don't know their names, so you probably will. There's some robot um, that's like a combat droid or something.
Is it a samurai looking robot?
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm
Uh,
not terribly familiar with this game, other than I know they have different rosters depending on which game you're looking at.
Uh,
Uh,
there is some sort of well, Cameron played this shark thing, the shark character.
oh, Armagon? Yeah.
Yeah, Armagon.
Yeah.
And the I'm trying to see who it
Now I'm
is.
curious who the robot is, too. I mean, it must be Chrome Dome. That's the one I think.
Chrome Dome. I think it was Chrome
Yeah,
Dome.
he's the one that looks like a samurai, although he looks different in this game. Yeah. Okay. Because usually he's just a silver samurai. Yeah.
Silver
Um,
Samurai. Yeah. But no, no. I'll go ahead and just confirm it. It is such a fun game.
cool. Yeah. I've been thinking about picking up that turtle game. Well, I'm gonna
Shredder's
get the
Revenge.
new one first and see if my kids like that, and then maybe we'll pick up the collection.
No, what we need to do is we need to figure out how to like mooch off of this. Um, you know how like game theory and the super best friends and all like everyone has a let's play channel. What we need to do is we need to figure out how to do a let's play channel, and we'll get like a 6 person Shredder's Revenge thing, and
Ooh, that
that'll
would be
be
sweet.
our yeah.
I've seen a couple of videos of that. That's just chaos. When you have six people all all doing their special moves constantly, it's
I I really want to get that game just because like some of my favorite memories are like playing it with Cameron and my dad. Whenever we went up to Indianapolis back in April or May, we went to this barcade called 16-bit where all the games are free. You put your tab, you get your drinks, whatever. I got this drink called the Carrie Fisher um,
nice.
because I had to. And then me, Cameron, and my dad, we just sat down and were like, okay, Turtles, the arcade game is right here. We are gonna beat this thing like we always do. And so we ended up beating it. I was Leonardo, Cameron Donatello. My dad was Raphael. So I always love doing that.
Speaking of beat 'em ups, right now Scott Pilgrim versus the World is only $5 on the Switch. That is a steal.
Yes,
I've been thinking about picking that one up. So
I
uh,
would encourage it. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
cool. All right, so let's get on to the main topic. So I've been thinking about this one for a long time. This was an idea I had, and I've been kind of fine tuning it for several months. But I got to set up a scenario here, and we're gonna be talking about Marvel characters, and basically which ones are the essential ones. So let me throw this picture up here, and I'm gonna paint a picture for you. Okay,
Okay.
so Here's your picture. Um, it's the future. The world is basically ending. This virus is killing everybody, it's destroying our planet. It's going to be uninhabitable. Okay, so everybody's going to die.
Okay.
We figure out a cure for the babies. There's a way to immunize them, but they can't live on this planet. So we're taking all the babies, we're putting them on a ship, and the ship is going to be flown by robots, these robot nannies. And they're going to take them to Mars, and they're going to rebuild a whole new world for them. Okay, so
Okay.
these robots, um, they all have a different function. So there's one that teaches them how to cook, one that teaches them how to build buildings, one that teaches them about math, or whatever. There's always different robots. Each one has a different function. Disney has bought one of these robots, and they wanted to teach the children about Marvel comics. Okay, they've got their
Okay.
priorities in the right spot. The problem is this robot has limited memory. It can only remember 100 Marvel characters. So if it doesn't remember it, that character is gone. So who are the 100 characters you programmed this robot to remember? That's question number one. And the way this would work is, okay, let's say you tell the robot to remember Spider-Man. Okay. So it's going to remember there's a character named Peter Parker, got bit by a spider. He has these powers. And that's all it's going to know. Is kind of his character traits. But when you add a character to it, like, okay, Uncle Ben. So now it goes, oh, Spider-Man has his uncle who died and taught him about great power and responsibility. Like, it can start making connections once you start giving it to it. But then it's like, oh, the uncle died. And the robot's like, oh, I don't know how the uncle died. Well, then if you add the burglar, now it's like, oh, a burglar shot the uncle. It starts putting the stories together the more characters you give it. Like, it starts making connections. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
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 like so
so
like
like
let's
the
say you
burglar
pick,
is the burglar is 100 of the essential Marvel characters is what you're saying.
I don't know, is he?
Okay. Okay.
So I think the way this work is we both have to agree that they can make it in the lifeboat. And if we're not
Okay.
sure, we'll put them on the waiting list.
Okay.
And at the end, if we have some slots left over, we can pull some from that waiting list. So, like,
Okay.
again, another example, you pick Spider Man, you put Gwen Stacy, it goes, oh, Gwen Stacy is Spider Man's girlfriend. I can tell that story, and she dies. I don't know how she dies until you add Norman, and then it's like, okay, it starts connecting the dots.
Okay.
Okay, so part of what I've been thinking is, okay, so how many Spider-Man characters do you save? Is it 20, 25? You have to
Hmm.
start thinking how much of each Marvel group takes up those 100 slots. So what I've done is I've made a Excel spreadsheet, or Google, whatever you call it, sheets.
And
Uh,
while you're bringing this up, I would
mhm.
like to just apologize to the people. I feel like that this is my doing. I made him watch Resident Evil this week, and so he's like, "Here is my scenario."
The end of the world. These two sisters cause a
Al,
zombie outbreak because they wanted to free the rabbits. Okay.
Albert Wesker has built these robots, and which Marvel characters belong in Marvel versus Capcom 3 or 75 or whatever.
Well, I'm just thinking because this scenario, if it works out, we're gonna try this. I've
Okay,
been doing
yeah,
this
no,
for a
no.
long time
Yeah,
because we
we're
could
gonna
do
do
it
it.
again with like DC characters or Star Wars or whatever. We could try different things.
Oh,
Um,
Joe Chill is the most important character in DC Comics. No cap.
so so let's start with number one. I think we both agree Spider-Man has
Oh
to be
yeah,
on this list. I mean,
Spider-Man, absolutely. Not even
okay,
a question.
all right. And I've also had this group drop down. I just have some of the different families. I've got Spider-Man, X-Men, Avengers, Hulk, Street Level, Magic, Midnight Suns, Cosmic, and other. I probably should
Okay.
put Fantastic Four, but okay, so he's part of the Spider-Man group.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see it. Let me zoom in a little bit here if I can figure out how Google Sheets works. Um, is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what other? Spider-Man characters are we saving? So in my brain, I'm kind of thinking somewhere between 20 to 30 Spider-Man characters. I think that's your most important group.
Okay,
And
so
then,
here's what I'm thinking from your
mm-hmm,
rubric.
mm-hmm,
I definitely think that you do have to add Aunt May, Uncle
uh,
Ben, and the burglar.
okay, I would agree. And I do not think I do not think you need Spider-Man's parents at
No,
all.
no, not at all.
Not at all.
No, no.
So,
So I am thinking how, because the way I'm seeing this assignment
uh huh.
is how can we encapsulate a character as minimalistically as possible.
Right.
And so I say Aunt May because you have to have somebody that Spider-Man has to hide his identity from, but still goes home to, right?
Right.
Uncle Ben and the burglar are paramount to his um, motivation. So those four right there off the bat, absolutely.
Okay. So
Um,
let's focus on his supporting cast, and then we'll switch to villains.
yeah. So I think that we really only need one love interest, and I don't know if you'll agree with me. I think you can just have Mary Jane Watson, and it's fine.
Really? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
So what I'm going to do is because I don't know if I did I spell burglar right? Burglar.
Burglar, hamburger,
I'm having one of those moments where if you look at a word too long, it looks wrong.
burglar. It's a
B.
G R no Burglar.
Okay, I didn't think that looked right. Okay. So you're saying just Mary Jane. I think Gwen's important, but so I'm gonna put Gwen on the waiting list,
Okay,
and with
and
her, I'm gonna put Captain Stacy also because I think they go
I,
together.
I can agree with both of those being on the waiting list. I just think that if we have to only choose one love interest,
Oh, it's Mary Jane.
then it's Mary Jane.
Yeah.
So I agree with them being on the waiting list. Um, then let's move on to this because I don't want to talk about Harry just yet because I definitely think of him as a villain.
Okay.
Um, what do you think about Flash Thompson?
I would put him on the lifeboat. I think he's extremely important to
I
the.
agree, absolutely. Um, absolutely, yeah. Um,
So I'm gonna throw
hmm,
another one out there.
Go ahead.
Uh, we have to have J.
Oh,
Jonah Jameson.
of course, of course.
I mean, it doesn't make sense without him.
Yeah. I think you need. I think you need Robbie on here.
I agree.
Yeah.
Um,
Because the whole but with J. Jonah Jameson, you got to have somebody in the bugle that is on Spider-Man's side.
so one of the ways you can kind of cheat at this game is think of were they in a movie or not. If they were in the movie, then they kind of have a case that maybe they should have been on the list or not.
I agree, but I don't think Betty Brant is as
Right,
important.
right. At least how they've used her in the movies, the comics, she was his first love interest, but they never. Yeah, I think you could tell Spider-Man stories without Betty Brant, definitely.
Yes. So I'm thinking maybe two more supporting characters, and then we head into villains.
Okay.
Um,
Now I consider Norman and Harry as supporting characters, but I could see that we leave those as
yeah,
villains.
I'm definitely waiting for them because those characters don't matter unless they're villains.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so for your supporting cast,
I'm gonna throw one more out there. I don't know if we're gonna keep her on the list, but how you feel about Black Cat?
I I think you can tell stories without Black Cat.
I'm gonna put
I'm
her on the waiting list.
Yeah.
Just
Honestly, I would put Gwen and Captain Stacy before Black Cat.
okay.
Um, I'm, who else is a part of Peter's friend
I'm
group?
trying to think. Like, I don't care about Liz Allen. I don't care
Yeah.
about Deb Whitman. I don't care, Carly Cooper, but I don't know.
Uh,
Kurt Connors, but he's more of a villain.
yeah, I'm saving Kurt Connors for villain as well. I
Because most of the Daily Bugle staff, I don't. care that much. I don't care about Ned Leeds.
Are we count? Are we counting Ben Urich as Spider-Man or street level? Because
Oh, I
I
would. Oh yeah, Ben Urich goes on here. I mean, he's
okay
kind of a Daredevil character, but
yeah that's what I think of. I think of Ben Urich as Daredevil. So
um, do we save Miles Morales? And
no,
if you say no.
yeah.
Okay,
Now, well, just because I'm thinking of the bare bones, you know what I
right,
mean?
right.
And
Yeah, he's kind of
so
a derivative of the original Spider-Man. He's cool. We love him. I think if you're just telling the core bare bones Marvel universe, yeah, I don't think we need
yeah,
him. Just like we would
and
need X-23 or these other
right
derivative characters.
now, here's the thing: when I say that, and I know I answered that scarily fast. I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I am an ally. I love Miles Morales, but I'm definitely thinking I'm trying to stay away from legacy characters. If we're talking about like a Spider-Man, then I want the kids of the future Martian colony to know about the best Spider-Man. You know what I mean?
Right. And
Uh,
if this was DC, I'd have a different opinion on legacy characters. Marvel less so.
Right,
Um,
right. Because in DC definitely legacy characters are more important. So 4, 10. You know what?
let's just switch to villains for right now. If we
Let,
think of
let,
another one,
yeah, let's switch to villains, and if we have enough room, then we can put Gwen and Captain Stacy on. I don't. No, 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 no. Jackal's not going on this list, by the way.
okay,
uh, yeah. But if we have enough room after villains, then we can put Gwen and Captain Stacy on here. But
okay,
for villains, absolutely Norman Osborn, not even question. And
Norma Osborn,
yeah, and then as an extension, Harry goes on there too.
and then I think you stop with that family. Like I don't think you need Liz Allen. I don't think you need Normie. I don't think
Yeah, yeah,
you could go on
you're
and on forever here. But
yeah.
I think that's all the goblins you need. Well, we'll talk about Hobgoblin, but
Well, we can get there. So Otto Octavius.
okay.
Um, I'm gonna go with Kurt Connors. Absolutely.
So here's where it gets tricky. Do you include his wife and Billy, or is it just Lizard? Right?
I
Right?
oh. So here's the thing, because one of the issues that I always thought about with with the Amazing Spider-Man movie is we never saw his family.
I,
Um,
I kind of think if you do the Lizard, you have to have his family.
yeah. You know what? If we are talking about, oh, because I
See?
don't. Oh man, you are correct. So how much are we doing for Spider-Man? How much you thinking?
At least 20 to maybe 30.
Go ahead and put his
Martha and
family on.
Billy.
Martha and Billy, yeah.
Okay.
Why did you say that, Nate?
Yeah.
Um, okay. Um, Eddie Brock.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm just double checking something real quick.
Brock.
Yeah, oh yeah, I misspelled Connors. I'll fix it.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
I figured I
Um,
was, and somebody would call me on it. So I'm like, okay, let me fix it. I
hmm.
think you have to include all the Sinister Six, like the classic Sinister Six. I'll go ahead and say that.
Uh, I don't think so. Uh,
Well, I think there's some Spider-Man villains we obviously like. We don't need Hydro Man. We probably don't need Rhino. You
I don't
know,
think you need Shocker.
no, I don't think you need Shocker. But I would be like Vulture's cool. I'm just gonna list some, and then we can debate them.
I okay. Let's see.
We'll start these four.
Okay. I will definitely debate you on. Um, I will debate you on Vulture and Sandman.
Okay.
Um, because Vulture and Sandman were not interesting until their films. That is my argument. Vulture was not interesting until Michael Keaton played him, and Sandman is just some burglar. There's no difference between Sandman and the burglar, except it's more important that you don't know who the burglar is.
Um. So I agree with you. Vulture's pretty boring. The only time I found Vulture interesting is when they gave him the ability to steal life force and get younger. I thought that made sense for him being a vulture to feed on other people. Um, all right, I'll take Vulture off the list.
Okay, so then, sell me on Sandman.
Sandman I always thought was interesting when he's trying to be a hero. Like when he was trying to be an Avenger in the 90s. I thought that was interesting. Um, that's about all I got.
So let
His
me t-
powers are cool. His powers are cool.
let me tell you where I'm coming from on this. I am trying to think of how these characters affect Spider-Man, Peter Parker's character. Um, Craven does that absolutely. I
Yeah.
definitely agree with Craven. Vulture doesn't really do that. Sandman doesn't really do that. Mysterio barely does it. Mysterio you can just kind of do anything with, and it's fine. Um, I'd keep Electro just because like Electro is cool, and I'll let that happen. But I don't know, Sandman. There's no personal stake for Spider-Man there. You know what I mean? I would put Black Cat before Sandman or Vulture as
I see
villain.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
There's no like quintessential Electro story. Well, I guess Electro, but there's no quintessential like Sandman story or I see what you're saying.
No, the
Uh,
quintessential Electro story is that he was the son of Red Skull.
right, right.
um,
So how about
that's an interesting one. I do love Carnage. I wouldn't say that he is absolutely necessary. However, um,
he
I
works
would
really well with this one?
right exactly. He's less of an extension of Spider-Man and more of an extension of Venom, and I am definitely down with that. So I would agree with Carnage. Now, as far as Carnage's um, uh, background characters or whatever, I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Like I wouldn't put Demo Goblin on this lifeboat.
No.
Banshee would not go on this lifeboat. Um,
All right. I'm gonna list like three more Spider-Man characters, and we'll move on to something else. Um, I'll leave Carnage on there for right now, and I'll put her on there. Whoops, if I can spell, and then we can debate them.
okay, I can definitely debate some Vanessa Fisk. I don't think she's as important to. So the way I'm thinking of this is Kingpin important to both Spider-Man and Daredevil? Absolutely.
Yeah,
Is Vanessa important to both?
I think Vanessa humanizes Kingpin, so he's not just a mob boss. You know,
Okay.
um, because otherwise he's just a mafia guy. I think
Right.
that it it shows a different side of his character. Like, but I don't think you need the rose. I like the rose a lot, but
Hmm.
I don't think it's necessary.
So Scorpion's another one that you're gonna have to sell me on.
You'd have to sell me on Scorpion. I'm just throwing Spider-Man characters on here.
Oh no! Oh no! No no! Take Scorpion off. No.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I feel like at this point the the only at this point the only villain that to me is personally interesting that belongs because I love Morlun, but I know that you don't need him.
No.
Um,
And I'm just writing some random people. I don't think you need him.
I don't think you need Morbius. I think that we have. This is the one. This is the one that I was thinking of. I personally love Mr. Negative, and there's a lot of interesting things can be done, but I can be swayed if you don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think. I think
Okay.
he is a cool character, but and I'll put him on the waiting list. That's fine.
Mm.
Um,
What I will go ahead and allow is we can put like if we're moving on from Spider-Man, we
I
can
think
put
so.
Gwen and Captain Stacy absolutely can go on there. Now
On
that I see, yeah,
okay.
now that I see the list, that is 25 solid Spider-Man characters. That which, if I say that Spider-Man is a quarter of the Marvel universe, I don't feel bad in saying that. You know?
Yeah. Uh, we'll skip X Men for right now because it's gonna get crazy when we get to X Men.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be
Let's talk Avengers, and
okay.
I think you start with the big three at first. So we'll say Captain America and kind
Yes.
of look at his supporting characters.
So I guess this is the big thing. Are we looking at these characters as individuals or as a team? Like, are we saying like here are the Avengers, this is Captain America,
Well,
and
well, like I said, when the robot when you start adding stuff, it'll start making connections. Going, oh, these two are on a team together. Like it'll figure out that they're Avengers.
okay, gotcha. So what you're
I'm
asking is okay, yeah, Bucky, absolutely.
I'm just gonna put some Cap characters down and we can debate them.
I agree so far. Do you think I don't think Crossbones. Yeah, I don't think
I'm
he's
just gonna
really
put a
necessary.
Carter, whether that's Peggy or Sharon.
Uh, okay. I think Peggy's more important than Sharon, and I agree because I do think it's important for Cap to have someone to leave behind. I think that's definitely important.
Okay.
Um, honestly, at that point, I think we're pretty good for Captain
The
America.
only one I can think of, and I don't know how familiar you are with Captain America, is Diamondback. She is a
Ah,
member of the Serpent Society who is always kind of like a lover for Captain America and kind of bad guy, good guy back and forth. She's had a lot of important stories, but I don't know if she needs to be on this list.
she is not quintessential. She is not necessary.
Okay.
If anything, yeah, we'll just move on to Iron Man. And I would save like Zemo for
Oh yeah,
like that is an Avengers villain, not a Captain
yeah,
America
yeah.
villain.
We'll get to him.
So for Iron Man, I think Pepper Potts absolutely.
Do you
Um,
need these two? We'll just I'm fine
well,
with them, but
actually, you
they're
know what? You are bringing up something interesting. So I actually don't think you need either of them.
well, you can tell me you don't need Happy, and I would you could argue that one for me. Pepper, I'm not the biggest Iron Man reader to begin with, so I don't know how much she's actually in the comic books. I assume she's important, but
She was not important until the movies.
see, that's what I'm kind of thinking. And we're not talking about the movies. We're talking about comic books.
Right, right. And so, well, what actually happened? Um, I, Jarvis, put Jarvis down.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jarvis in the comics is basically what. Pepper plays the role of. Um, Essentially, in the comics, Happy and Pepper were married,
Mm-hmm.
and so they were kind of supporting characters. And it wasn't until the movies came out that they killed Happy, so that way Tony could be with Pepper.
Yeah.
And it always like came off as wrong to me. So I mean, it's just easier to have neither of them there. But Jarvis, absolutely. Mandarin, yes. Um, I don't know
I'm
about
just,
Modoc.
I'm just writing names, and you
Yeah,
could tell me yes or no.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go no with Modoc, no with Fing Fang Foom.
Really?
Uh,
I think Fin Fang Foom is fun. I
no, I
think
think
Marvel he needs to be have some fun to it. That's why I think those
yeah,
two characters are fun characters.
yeah. I you know what? I'm still gonna go no for Fing Fang Foom, but you can put Modoc on the waiting list.
Okay, that is fine.
Um, I think Obadiah Stane or a Stane, Obadiah Stane,
What
is
is Justin Hammer? Like, do we need both of them, or you just need one, either him or Stain? Who do you want?
You're right. Justin Hammer's more important.
I think having someone like him is he the one that leads AIM or one of the other companies? I can't remember. Like I said, my Iron
Uh,
Man foo's a little weak.
so Justin Hammer was one of the is essentially Justin Hammer is kind of uh, like James Bond's Q, but for Marvel villains. So
Yeah,
like if someone if like there's a villain that needs something, they go to Justin Hammer and he gives it to him. Um, and so he's kind of like the reverse of Tony Stark. And so that's why I'd say he's important. In terms of Iron Man, I would say we got Mandarin, Jarvis, Justin
do we
Hammer.
need someone like some type
Uh,
of armored guy, like either him or I can't think of the other guy's name, Titanium or something.
I would say no, just because um, like unless you want to go with someone like Ezekiel Stain or Obadiah Stane. Um,
And that would be like one of the stains.
right, exactly. Because I think, at least in the comics, I with what they did in the movies, I'm fine with it. But in the comics, the Iron Man Mandarin thing really is the whole thing with Iron Man versus the Mandarin is typically you've got magic is the good guy and technology is the bad guy, but it's the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I think that's important. I would say this is good for Iron Man. In terms of Tony Stark love interest, he really doesn't have one, so like you can just pair him up with anybody.
I think we agree
Um,
on those three.
yes. Um,
I'll just throw some more on here and we can debate whether they need to be here or not.
I will definitely argue. I will argue them. Heimdall absolutely important. Um, I'm gonna okay. So we can argue Enchantress Executioner. Jane Foster, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Um, Beta Ray Bill don't need to be on here.
Come on. All right. So these were the two you liked.
Yeah.
Baldur is way more important in the comic books than he is in the. I mean, I don't think he's even been in the movies.
No, he hasn't been in the movies.
And I'm not going to write them all out right now, but
Yeah. I don't know about the Warriors 3.
I'm just.
Uh,
I think that's all the Thor characters I know,
so
besides villains.
I would definitely I would take off Enchantress and Executioner. I would put Surtur on there. I think Surtur is very important. Um, ooh, Okay, let's see who else. Who else we got? Because honestly, I think Thor, Loki, Odin, Heimdall, Jane Foster, and arguably the Warriors three. I think that's like your good, like supporting cast, and then at that point, it just comes down to villains, which is really Surtur. Um,
So I'm gonna loop back. I think Enchantress is one of
now
the
that it's
bigs.
now that you mention it, I do agree. I yeah, Enchantress, yes. I don't think Executioner needs to be on there.
No, I've
Um,
just listed things to debate.
yeah,
Was it Volstagg and then Finral something?
Zachary
Fanville,
Levi.
Zachary Levi. What?
um,
We gotta save Zach.
yeah,
It's a national
that's
treasure.
yeah. We're saving Shazam next.
Um, yeah, I knew Thor would take up a lot of chunks. I
It's
think.
not even just Thor because like I would consider Loki. Loki is definitely like in that Avengers villain category.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So really, it's just Lady Sif and the Warriors three that's taken up a lot of space.
I mean that's
uh,
that's the thing with the Warriors three. You have one, you gotta have all three.
yeah,
um, I don't know if like I was tempted to put Destroyer or Malekith.
no,
I don't think they are.
you do have to
Thinking,
put Sif on there though.
go ahead and put Sif on there.
Well, if you're gonna have the Warriors three, then you gotta have Sif on there.
I think that is a quality list for Thor to tell Thor stories.
Yes, absolutely.
Um,
There really is no one else that I can think of. I guess like we could be cheeky and put Angela, but I don't want to put Angela on here.
yeah, you conked
I,
out for a second there.
oh, okay. We could be cheeky and put Angela on here, but I don't want to put Angela
No,
on here.
how about Gila?
No,
You think so? I think she's important. I'll
I
put her on
think
waiting list, but I
I
don't
think I think Angela's more important than Gila.
really. I feel
Yes.
like Angela's a stunt that was done years later by Marvel, saying, "Oh, the Spawn character is really a Thor character." Um, I just think Gila's part of the underworld, but we'll get to that. We might
Yeah.
loop back to her. All right, we'll save the Hulk family for a little bit later.
Yeah.
So we'll
And
stay on.
you'll definitely have to take point on Hulk because I just think you have Hulk and Thunderbolt Ross and Betty Brant and you're good. So
Leader and Abomination, and then I think you might be good. But we'll get. Oh, and Rick Jones, of course. You have to have Rick, and I
yeah.
would argue for Marlowe also, but you don't know who Marlowe
Yeah.
is. Um,
Honestly, when it comes to Hulk, if I don't know them, they don't matter.
all right, so
Um,
let's just type in some Avengers
right, yeah.
now.
At this point, these are Avengers. I'm gonna get the hate. I don't think Black Panther. I would actually save Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver for X Men because I think they're more important to the X Men mythos than they are to the
Well, I'm
Avengers
gonna go ahead
mythos.
and list them just so we don't
Sure,
forget them.
sure.
Uh, I, I
Black Widow, absolutely. Hawkeye, yes. Um,
I'm going to leave Black Panther on here for right now.
okay.
If it comes down to later, like, oh, we've missed these vital characters, we can remove him.
I mean, like we're already at 50,
I
and
know
yeah,
we haven't talked about X Men.
we haven't
I
talked about
know.
X Men. We haven't talked about the street level. Yes, Vision.
I'm gonna
See,
list.
I guess my thing is like, you see,
No,
these are yeah,
I know.
these are the ones that I like. You're just listing them now.
I'll put
Uh,
Hercules over here. I think She Hulk's important.
I don't like to telling Avengers stories. Um, no, I mean like you're putting Hercules and She-Hulk over Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh no, they go on the list
Yeah,
absolutely.
right. Um, Ultron, yes.
Don't think you need her. I'm just putting her for debate.
Yeah,
If
you
he,
don't need you don't need Jocasta. The only reason you need Jocasta is because that's Cameron's comic book waifu or whatever. Uh, I would put Thanos on here.
well, we'll get to Thanos when we get to
Oh,
Cosmic.
oh, because he's cosmic, right? Right.
Um,
I would.
I had one more. Yeah, Baron Zemo.
Yes,
Did I write him already? I don't think you need him, but I love him.
But that's how I feel about Black Panther too. Is like I don't think you need Claw. I don't think you need Black Panther. But I love them. But I don't think you need them. I mean,
Um,
like even then, Vibranium wasn't even important. Okay, so we get into Midnight Suns now.
well, I mean, he's been an Avenger off and on.
I
We'll
mean,
come back to him. We'll come back to him.
they've all been Midnight Suns and Avengers at some point.
I'm trying to think of if there's any other major Avengers I'm missing.
I think so. Whenever I don't think Wonder Man is because whenever I'm thinking of your important Avengers, I'm thinking of your founding members plus Captain America. You know,
Yeah,
I honestly, even from a cosmic perspective, I think Captain Marvel is one of the least important.
and so you got to specify it. So we talk about Captain Marvel. We're talking about
Yeah, I'm talking about Marvel.
so you're talking about Marvel. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, he's one of the first major deaths of the Marvel universe, but I think you can easily replace him with Adam Warlock, and nobody cares.
yeah, and we'll get to because I definitely agree with Adam Warlock, but we'll get to that.
And
Uh,
I'm blanking on what her real name is. The Brie Larson Captain Marvel,
Carol Danvers.
Carol Danvers. I don't think she needs to be on here.
No, well, so there's one reason, but I guess that's how important do you think Rogue is to the Marvel universe?
Well, so that is the debate because
Do you want to go ahead and
technically,
like I think we got some good Avengers going on right here. We might be
let's
able to just
do
move on to X-Men.
let's do Hulk and Fantastic Four real quick, and then we'll do X Men.
Okay, so for Fantastic Four, super easy. The Fantastic Four, Doctor Doom, Silver Surfer, Galactus, done.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I mean, I agree with all your picks.
Oh, Franklin. I don't know if you need Franklin like
He's so important.
but he's
Um,
important later on. That's the thing.
and if you have him, do you want Valeria, his
No.
sister? Okay. I just because I've read more Fantastic Four, I would argue for these characters. I think Franklin's important.
So I agree that Franklin's important, but I think he's important later on. The Watcher, I agree with. I guess I just don't think of him as. I've always thought of the Watcher as like a cosmic character, but
I don't think any, besides the kids, I think I was up to iconic. Oh, you know we're forgetting Kang.
I thought about Kang. I didn't know yet.
I guess either I should have put Fantastic Four. That is a category. Let me see if I can fix that. Oh, how did I do this the other night? Um, data validation, and then it was. I think you just changed that to A10. There we go. Okay, cool. Um, but yeah, I think I'm like you don't need Mole Man, you don't need Diablo, you don't need the Mad Thinker or the Wizard. I could argue for Medusa or Crystal,
uh,
but
you
but
could, but
but once you the problem with Medusa and Crystal is once you introduce them, then you're introducing the Inhumans, and I don't think that they are necessary to be on this list.
no, not at all.
Like, because once you start listing this, like, okay, we need Black Bolt, we need Maximus, we need, and I don't, I would actually, I mean, really, he's part of the Fantastic Four family. Oh, you know we're missing. That's the other Fantastic Four person you need.
I guess I've always thought of him as X-Men, but
No, he's definitely Fantastic Four.
okay.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Um, I mean, you could. And I don't know how to spell his stupid name.
Annihilus.
See, we'll put him on the
Uh,
waiting list. I think
yeah.
he's important. Uh,
I think he's important, but I would put Annihilus in Cosmic. And I want to see let's do Hulk, then X-Men, and then we can get to
Cosmic and street level and magic
yeah.
and everything else because we're running out of room, and that's
So
what makes this fun. So we're gonna really start running out of room. So I'm gonna
while
say
while like after you do Hulk, can you go back to the very beginning so that way I can write down ones just so I have a quick reference of which ones that I think are more expendable than others?
yeah, type. Uh, I want to put Marlowe so bad. I'll put her over here. Marlowe was a Vegas showgirl, I think she was, that the Gray Hulk fell in love with, and then she later married Rick Jones. She's like extremely important to the. Why I say that during the Peter David run, she was very important to the Hulk comics. Um, I mean, once you get past Leader Abomination, it's like Absorbing Man, who I think is iconic, but I don't know if you need him there. Oh, I know who
No.
you need. I mean, that's why he became the Hulk. He's like the burglar to the list.
Yeah,
That one's a little controversial, but I think you have to have him. Um,
I can somewhat agree. So let's see. Um, okay, so let's see. Take him off. Take. I'm just writing down
the
all
ones
the
are
ones.
iffies. Yeah,
Yeah. So Electro is an iffy for me.
I would agree.
Carnage is an iffy for me. I know you love him, but Hobgoblin would also be an iffy for me. Um,
Yeah, I could see that argument.
uh, Lady Sif and the Warriors 3 are iffy for me. Um, oh, Black Panther's iffy for me. Um,
Oh, we're forgetting important characters.
Franklin is important. Is if oh yeah, Nick Fury, absolutely. Um, Franklin is iffy for me, and I'm just gonna go ahead and let you know that Abomination and Leader also
No,
iffy for me.
they stay. I'll draw the line the same. They stay. Um,
I love Dum Dum Dugan as
I do
much as,
too. I do
but I
too.
don't.
It hurts to put them all over here, but
Yeah. So now that we've got my iffy list, what's next? X Men.
I think we have to go X-Men, and there's only 26 spots left.
So go ahead and put Professor X.
I think we have to go like 15 X-Men, and that's it. I think that'll be like we're out of room.
Um, Magneto.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna list the ones I think are super important to Mythos. After that, you can argue me on any X-Men. I think that I think Cyclops, Jean, and Wolverine and Xavier are kind of your heart of the X-Men.
Yes.
I think she's extremely important.
Yes.
So in my head, I have like the 10 essential X-Men. I'm gonna go ahead and list them. It's Xavier, Cyclops, Jean, Wolverine, Storm, Beast, Kitty,
Yes.
Nightcrawler,
Yes.
Colossus.
Okay.
I spelled that right. Is that 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, those are the 10 that I think are essential.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put one out there. Senator Kelly.
I I can't argue. Um,
You know what I mean, though, right?
do you put him on the list so you get Sentinels, Master Mold?
I think you can just put Sentinels. Like I think that
Well, I
that would
mean, I
work.
think that yeah,
Like I don't think you need like Master Mold. I think you can just have Senator
I'm
Kelly.
building the Sentinels. He's building Nimrod. He's building.
Yeah, yeah. I think you can just put yeah. Saber. Ooh, okay, so this is where it gets weird. Like, how deep do you want to get into Wolverine's backstory? Is where it gets weird.
And
Um,
we're already at number 90. So I think, like, I love Apocalypse. I love Mr. Sinister, but do they, you know, you don't want to waste spots like for Blob. I
yeah.
like I like Gambit. He's a good. I'm gonna add one more. I don't know. I'm just
I'm
throwing him on there.
so I'm gonna go ahead and have you take him off because I love him, but I'm gonna go ahead and have you take him off too
I know
because I
it's
love him.
hard.
I love him, but not important. Um, if like I would put Deadpool before Cable on here, but I wouldn't put either on here.
Well, I think the issue with Cable is there's too much baggage. Once you put him on there, that's like, oh, we need Apocalypse, we need Mister Sinister, we need this, we need that, we need Madeline
Right,
Pryor, we need and
right. That's what it comes down to. Is like with. So here's the thing. Do you think that it's right that we have more Spider-Man than X-Men characters?
yes, I think Spider Man's the flagship.
Okay,
I think he is Marvel Comics. It'd be like if we were doing DC, you'd have more Batman characters than anybody else.
that's true. Do you think that it's right that we have more Avengers characters than X-Men characters?
Ooh, well, it would be different if Cyclops had his own rogues gallery and
Yes,
Jean
yeah,
Grey and
I
stuff.
agree. That is true.
The only one that really does is Wolverine, and we put Sabretooth on here.
He's the only one that would belong on here. Well, and once again, that's like how deep do you want to get? I no, I don't think so.
Okay, and if you knock her out, then you're knocking out Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah.
I
Um,
would have put her on here, but after they've screwed up her character so bad lately, I usually leave her off. Um,
um, really, when it comes down to essential X-Men, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this out there. If you watch the '90s show, you've got the essential X-Men. Um,
I would argue that you can leave Gambit off. I love
yeah,
Gambit,
yes,
but
yes. You so you could. Well, I mean, like we're not putting Morph on here or
no,
Jubilee.
yeah,
But at the same time, Kitty, like
Kitty is
Jubilee was Kitty,
yeah.
but they didn't use her. Um, but Kitty is important. Okay,
I
so
think
let's
the X
see.
Men are done.
I think the X Men are done, but I do have there are some on your 10 essentials that I might take off, but we'll
Whew, it's hard.
there
I could
there
argue
are
Colossus and Colossus is the one I would maybe take off, but I just feel like
Colossus is the one I was thinking of.
and I feel like if you have Colossus, you need to have. But
But you don't need Juggernaut. That's the thing.
all right, let's finish the list, and then we can come back and debate
Okay.
Colossus and Black
Okay,
Panther and
so
Carnage and whatever.
what do we have next? We have
Let's go. Let's go a little. Oh shoot, we haven't gotten to Daredevil. I'm just listing people, and
okay.
we can go from there.
I think
I don't think you need her. I'm just putting her there.
so. Honestly, I do think you need her for Daredevil. I don't think you need Luke Cage, Iron Fist, or Foggy.
Ooh, Foggy. I agree with you on Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Foggy. Let's. This is so hard. Uh, I'm gonna leave him for just a second. He's probably gonna go right off the list, just because we have so
But
many more characters to list.
yeah, well, we haven't even gotten to Cosmic if you think about it.
No, and so let's list one more of the big hitters that needs to be on here.
I thought you were gonna put the Punisher. This was your idea, man.
I know, but see, I think it's a good exercise
It's a good exercise. I agree.
because
No.
my issue was if I look at like there are so many Marvel characters that you could just throw in the trash can, you know,
Mhm.
and so I thought, let's boil it down. What do you consider to be this is it? These are the ones you have to have.
I mean,
Like I want to list. Or I know it's not spelled right. Um, I want to list them, but I
agree.
can't.
I agree
I
with.
can't. I can't list any of these.
Okay,
There's no room.
so here's what we're gonna do. Let's go before we have an aneurysm that we're getting close to the end of the list. Let's go back to Spider-Man and let's see who we can take off.
I'll take off Vanessa.
I agree. I think you can take off Electro. Honestly, I think you can take off Mysterio and Hobgoblin as well.
I'd say leave Mysterio because he's different. Get rid of
Okay.
Hobgoblin. He's a derivative.
Carnage is derivative.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's a tighter Spider-Man list.
I can make you even more upset. I think we might be able to take off Kurt Connor's family.
Let's leave them for just a second.
Because we haven't even gotten to Cosmic yet.
Oh, I know, and we're making room. So I think I'll go ahead and put Punisher in the Spider-Man family. He kind of is.
I would agree with that.
I mean, there is part of me wants to keep Luke and Iron Fist, but I don't think there's room.
There's not room, and they're genuinely not important. Even whenever they were on the Avengers in Bendis's run, they were not important.
Yeah. My brain goes to like stories like Secret Wars and like Infinity Gauntlet. Like, what heroes were they picking from for those? Like I love Cloak and Dagger. They're not going to be on this list. I love the Runaways. They're not going to be on this list.
Honestly, I'm thinking about the 100. I'm thinking about the 100 characters that I learned when I was a kid.
So, is there any more from Doctor Strange's family that you would include?
I would include. I would include the Ancient One, Mordo, and Dormammu.
Let's do this. Let's move them over here, just so that Doctor Strange. I'm trying to keep it somewhat in order. Ancient One. How do you spell Dormammu? I'll have to look it up.
M-A-M-M-U.
M-A-M-M-U. Okay. Have to be tabs open also. I want to include Nightmare. I can't. I want to include Baron Mordo. I can't. Okay. Here's another one that we've left off. Exactly.
So unfortunately, I think that we have learned that you can go an entire 20 some odd movies without ever bringing this guy up.
Although to be fair, he's more of a Silver Surfer villain than anybody's, and we haven't introduced Silver Surfer yet. So that could be what they're saving for.
Silver Surfer is up by Galactus.
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing. Do you want Ghost Rider on here?
Oh, I think so.
So if Ghost Rider's on here, then Mephisto's on here. But if Ghost Rider's on here, then we gotta have his dad on here too.
Think so.
You don't
I
think so?
well, shoot.
Because that was the whole point. Was so here's the thing.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know,
go.
Tank.
I'm gonna go ahead and we might not need Ghost Rider on here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there. Like, so I don't think I don't think you need Blade. I love Blade,
I do
but
too. Okay, so let's go cosmic for a minute.
okay. Yes. Yes. Richard Rider. So at this point, I guess yes, Drax. I guess at this point is like, how many of the Guardians do you want on here?
Biggest Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I think you might be able to stop here with the cosmic. I don't know.
I
I mean, Star Lord is such a recent character. I mean, he's been around
Yeah,
since the '70s, but they haven't really used him till recently.
yeah.
Uh, I will go ahead and throw her on here just because of all the connections to Thanos and Adam Warlock. Like I would put him on this list before I would put anybody else from Guardians of the
Would you
Galaxy, but I don't
would
know
you
if he
put
needs to be on the
Nebula on
list.
here? Would you put Nebula on here?
No,
No,
only
even
because of
with
the
Infinity.
movies. Only
Well,
because of the movies. Well, shoot, the
Infinity
Infinity
Gauntlet.
Gauntlet. But that's like the
uh,
only good story she's ever been in.
it's true. It's true. Um, I want to put Annihilus on here. Um, but
All right, let's put him on here for right now. So we have 100 people.
I will go ahead and let you know I do not feel good about this list.
I don't either. I feel like we're missing major characters.
Well, not just that. I feel like we're missing major characters, and I feel like that there's some characters that we have on here that are definitely more favorites than ones that actually matter. Let's. I wrote down this
All right.
list. Let's go ahead and
Okay.
okay.
Well, let's do this. If we think that they're questionable, we'll highlight them.
Okay. Yes.
So let's look at column one. What we got? We got Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Uncle
Yes.
Ben,
Yeah.
Burglar, Mary Jane, Flash.
I think Robbie's questionable.
I mean, I could make an argument for him.
I think Ben Urich is questionable.
I think you need that eyes on the street level character.
No, no. Here's the thing. I agree, but I'm also thinking top 100 characters. I would think Mysterio is questionable.
You're hurting me. You're hurting me.
I'm gonna put Gwen and Captain Stacy back on the questionable. Tell me this: can you have Gwen without Captain Stacy?
I don't think you can.
Okay.
I think they. But I think Captain Stacy. He. These two, Captain Stacy and Kurt Connors, I feel like are the only people that Spider-Man could ever talk to.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll move on for right now.
So I think that the rest of it's good now in terms of column 2. I think that Justin Hammer and Ironmonger are questionable. I think we can go ahead and take. I think Peggy Carter's important.
Okay.
I think we can go ahead and just take off Lady Sif and the Warriors 3.
I don't want to take them off. I will highlight them, but
Okay.
I will fight for them.
Okay. Go ahead and
Well,
go ahead and
I'm less. Lady Sif was one I could if I had to remove one, I would remove her.
go ahead and highlight Black Panther as well.
I disagree, but okay.
Um, and then you can go ahead and highlight Searcher too.
That's the only one I'm kind of like, yeah, I could lose him. He's only in
Uh,
like one major event.
yeah, it's like a major event, but like it's still only one. Go ahead and highlight Baron Zemo.
That hurts.
Oh, this is gonna hurt worse. Highlight Franklin Richards.
I knew you were going to say that, but I feel like Franklin's almost been there since the beginning.
But that's the thing is I don't feel like that.
But you haven't read many Fantastic Four stories
Also
either.
true. Also true. So then go ahead and fight me on this. Highlight Namor.
No,
Okay.
he is the first Marvel character. He is so important to these two characters up here.
Okay.
You have a love triangle there, which is weird because they're married,
Okay.
but uh, he is absolutely essential to the Marvel universe.
Okay. So go ahead. First of all, highlight Brian Banner because we were already kind of iffy on him.
Yeah.
Now sell me on Leader and Abomination.
So if Hulk is gamma radiated strength, he is the opposite. He's gamma radiated intelligence. Like he is like Bruce Banner's opposite, and Abomination is the Hulk's opposite. They're almost like the perfect bad guys for him, other
Okay.
than humans hating and fearing the Hulk that you get up here. Like I think
Okay.
that's your trifecta of Hulk villains.
Okay, I got you. I see that. I'm not gonna try to argue with Rick Jones because I don't know much about the character, and from what you tell me, he seems pretty important.
He is
Um,
like the reason you have Avengers. He's the reason, like he was Captain America's sidekick for years. He's been the Hulk sidekick for years. He's so important that he stays.
let's go back here for a second. Back to column two. Are Black Widow and Hawkeye really that important? I'm just playing devil. I love both of them. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I think they are quintessential
Okay.
Avengers.
Okay.
But I could also argue that there are Spider-Man villains that we have removed that are quintessential Spider-Man villains. Like I would almost get rid of Martha and Billy and put back on like Vulture and Electro, or
Right.
In fact, let's
Um,
let's let's go ahead. I'll still leave them highlighted. I'm gonna take out those two. I'd rather have them over her supporting family.
okay. So then fourth column. Um, who's up? Yeah, Colossus. I'm gonna go ahead and break your heart again. We might have to highlight Nightcrawler too.
I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and argue Nightcrawler right now.
Please.
He and ignoring later retcons that were stupid, he looks like a demon, and he's the opposite. So he is like the perfect mutant that the world is going to hate him for how he looks, but on the inside, he's religious compared to him looking like a demon. He is the perfect allegory for mutants that the world hates and fears him, and he loves them.
Okay. Then I want to break your heart even more. Sell me on Beast because I don't think you need both of them.
Beast, I don't think he's as hated as feared. He is also an Avenger. Don't forget. Of course, you don't have Wonder Man on the list. They're the duo. Um,
No, I don't have Wonder Man on the
Beast.
list.
And the thing is, if you it gets complicated when you bring in Wonder Man. Uh, Beast, to me, he's the brains of the team. Uh, if Nightcrawler's the moral center, he's the like I say, he's the brains behind the team. I agree with you on Colossus.
Okay.
He's just kind of iconic.
So
I'm feel pretty strong on the
yeah.
rest of these.
So the next two, I'm just playing devil's advocate because I love both of them, but are they necessary? Kitty and Rogue. Now, Kitty, I know is kind of like the viewpoint character, and I get that. Um, but to the greater mutants, are they necessary? Because in a sense, at one point or another, Kitty and Rogue have played the same role.
So Kitty is she's the future.
Right.
She
Yes.
is the next generation of X-Men. She's all the hope that this is kind of what they're fighting for, is that people like Kitty can have a future. And you get into whole Days of Future Past, um, and everything. I think Kitty stays. Rogue is here's a villain whose mutant powers went out of control. This is what the X-Men were founded for, is helping people like her who their mutant powers are. I mean, you're looking at the two reasons the X-Men were created. Kitty, having a future for these mutants, and then Rogue, someone who can't control her powers and needs help.
Hmm.
I think they're both essential to the X-Men.
Okay, so my next one,
So we're highlighting all these people. Who are we trying to add onto the list that's not here? Like,
I'm
we got
I'm
the waiting list over here.
I
I could put like, you know,
I am trying to think of like
these are
be
dumb
be
characters.
yeah. So what I'm thinking of from my perspective is I'm trying to take away like some supporting characters to add more main characters. You know what I mean?
But who are those? Like, you haven't listed. I mean, I could
Oh,
say like Luke Cage and Iron Fist, maybe. Uh,
so I would put honestly, I would probably put Ghost Rider, Mephisto, and Blackheart over some of these people that we have highlighted.
okay.
Because I do think the Ghost Rider is important to the Marvel Universe. I think that that's kind of your gateway into um, magic. I know most people would say Doctor Strange, but like it really is Johnny Blaze. Um, there are this is where it gets hard. Um, I agree with this. I this one breaks my heart, but you can also highlight Master Mold because I
Well,
think
I think yeah, I agree. You know what? Let's go ahead and take him off. I
so.
think if you get Senator Kelly, you get Sentinels. I think I think he just builds. you know, I don't think you need both of them.
Yeah. Well, even then, and this is where my mouth is going to burn a little bit because they're my favorite thing. I mean, they are why I love the Marvel Universe. I don't know if you need Sentinels at all. Like, just the hatred of mutants and how people feel about them is enough. Um, I'd like to put Blade on here. Yes.
Okay, I'll leave him highlighted,
Yeah.
but
Um, I'm
so
trying.
let's do this because we're running out of time. let's, unless you think of anybody else in the next 5 minutes, let's leave the list as is and kind of revisit it just right at the beginning of the next week's show and see if there's anybody we thought of that should have been on this list. Kind of stew over it, and then we'll come back next week and see.
Yeah. Go ahead and highlight Gamora and Annihilus as well.
And when you put Gamora, like I feel like Adam Warlock, Pip, and Gamora are a trio, and Drax, like those four characters go together. They're all classic Jim Starlin cosmic characters.
Okay.
And maybe it's just because I've read several stories with them. Like I think you get Megas automatically if you get Adam Warlock for the same character. I don't think Moondragon's getting a seat on the lifeboat. Um, she is an important character though, but I don't think she gets a seat.
So, like, some that I'm already thinking of, like, we don't have Falcon on here.
Yeah.
And in terms of African American representation, I think Falcon is probably the most important.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like if I took off Lady Sif and just put Falcon there,
I could get down with that.
I feel better about that. Uh, I want to take this one off, but my brain keeps saying he's so important to why Bruce is the Hulk.
So let me put it to you like this. Um, think about think about Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
was he ever mentioned?
No, but he's been mentioned so many times in the Hulk. Like that just keeps coming up of this repressed anger of seeing Brian Banner abuse Hulk's mom, which makes me think Hulk's mom needs to be on this list also. But I'm not putting both of them. Yeah.
This was a
So
hard one.
this, like I said, this is I've been thinking about this for like 6 months now. It's not easy. Uh, I think the ones that we have as big question marks are good question marks. I could
Yeah.
argue all of them. Um, but I think we leave this for right now, just because as soon as the podcast is over or live stream is over, you're gonna say, "Oh, I forgot so and so." There's like I want to bust out the Marvel encyclopedia I have on the shelf now and just flip through it and see who we missed. Um, so I think for right now, this is a good starting point.
Oh
And
man, we forgot Stan Lee.
he's not a character.
I know he's
Uh,
not.
but like there's part of me wants to put Miguel O'Hara on here. There's part of me that wants to put Spider Ham on here, but I can't. you
Yeah,
know,
you are correct. You cannot do that.
you know. So, like I said, we leave it. We're not going to spend the whole next show on this. Like we may just do like 15 minutes of here's who we missed and that it should have been on this list. Um, but we will definitely come back to this.
Okay.
And probably like a month from now, we'll do the DC list.
Okay.
But did you think this was a fun exercise?
This was a stressful exercise, man.
Oh, I know it was stressful, but I think
Very fun, yes.
but
Yeah.
I think it's fun to think about. I don't
Well,
know if you
I
could do
think
one for like Star Wars. Like I'd also say like 50 characters, or make it a shorter list.
you might be able to. No, I think what's cool about this is this also shows um, the difference between me and you and what we think is more important in the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, obviously, I don't think that Hulk is as important to the Marvel universe as you do. Um, to me, whenever I think of the importance of the Marvel universe, I really am just thinking X-Men, Cosmic, and Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm trying to be fair to the Avengers side of things. 'Cause I'm not an Avengers guy, but I do like Thor. I do like Captain America. There's portions of it I like, but like Iron Man, I think we've only got two Iron Man characters on there, and I'm kind of like that. That's all you need.
Well,
I mean,
there's
I could,
Jarvis.
yeah, I think of him more as an Avenger, but uh, Pepper and Happy, I think are cool characters. I don't think they need to be on this list, or Whiplash, or
Yeah, I mean,
Whirlwind, or whoever.
really, whenever it comes down to Avengers characters, you just need to look at the Ultimates, and like that's your quintessential Avengers story,
Mhm.
anyways.
So one more thing before we leave this list: which of these characters have never appeared in a movie? Are there any?
Oh, talking about the Spider-Man characters or just in
Any of
general?
them? Craven, I don't think has been
Craven,
in a movie.
Craven has not been in a movie. Um,
I mean, Jarvis, sorta.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and
Um,
say Jarvis has not been in a movie.
he
Uh,
was. We took Baldur off the list.
Enchantress has not been in a movie.
Enchantress.
Um, Galactus,
Well,
Galactus has not been in a movie.
he kind of
I
was. I
don't.
mean, I haven't seen that movie, so I don't know.
I mean, he was a cloud.
Namor has not yet been, but he will be.
Kang was
Uh,
in Loki.
I
Red
think we've
Hulk
had.
hasn't been.
Well, yeah, but Thunderbolt Ross has.
Are you gonna say
Um,
Leader's been in a movie yet?
yeah, he
He
has,
was. He was there.
and I think we'll get back to him eventually. That's too good an actor to waste.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I
Adam
mean,
Warlock
he's been mentioned, but yeah, and Annihilus.
and Annihilus.
Unless you count him as the guy that Thanos killed at, and
No,
yeah, I agree. Age of Ultron or whatever.
is that what they say?
That was what they were saying at the time, and then I think they dropped that.
Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way.
Was it
Uh,
Gar?
the guy that Ronan killed,
Maybe, yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah,
like
where he punched him and his head spun around or whatever or
yeah,
something.
that was a Ronan. They said that was a nihilist. Not even close.
I think when Avengers came out, because that same character's in there, I think they were saying it then, and then they kind of dropped it.
Yeah, they needed to drop it. Like,
It's such a waste of a character.
speaking of wastes, Executioner.
Yeah, yeah. All right, I think this is a solid starting point, and if we don't revisit next week, if we don't think of anything else, we will definitely come back to this. Maybe we come back to this about a month and just see if we still agree with our list.
Yeah, I think that's better. To just
Okay, we'll revisit this in a month, and then we'll say, "Oh, here's who we forgot," or "Here's who definitely should be on this list," or
mhm.
All right. So I think that was fun, but we are rapidly running out of time because I'm getting texts saying, "Where are you?" All right, so let's stop sharing that screen. We won't spend too much time on this because Caleb asked me to watch Resident Evil. I'm not the hugest Resident Evil guy to begin with. Like, it's one of those things where I'll read the bios and stuff. But I've never really played the games.
So so
I did watch the playthroughs of the recent game Village. I thought that was cool. Um,
this was actually my, like I said, I've been experimenting with you with these,
mhm.
making you watch. I am a huge Resident Evil fan. I absolutely adore Capcom, and I think Resident Evil is on the up and up. What did? How many episodes did you watch, and what did you think of them?
I I think I'm on episode 3, and only because my wife wanted to continue watching. I think if this did not have Resident Evil in the title, it's not a terrible zombie show. But because it has Resident Evil in the title, I have a lot of issues. I don't know what to think of Wesker. I think he's a cool character in the games and in other movies. Here, every once in a while, we'll kind of see that side of him, like when they're having Was that in the first episode where they had the meeting about the sister getting beat up?
Yes.
So that parent teacher meeting that felt like Wesker.
Yeah. So this is what I think. I think that Lance Reddick as Wesker is like the highlight of the show.
Yeah, I'd see that.
Um, I definitely think. By the way, I told you that there was a name for this that I gave it. That I think really encapsulates the entire show. This is River Dead. Um,
Yeah.
a combination of Riverdale and The Walking Dead.
Well, I just thought their reason for breaking in to free the rabbits was so stupid.
Yes.
Like I could, and for them to be making a big deal, like, oh, PETA said they're not doing animal testing or whatever. Animal testing is so important in our science. Like so many companies do animal testing, and other than PETA getting upset about it, it's not like it is a necessary evil for us to have the medicines and the developments that we've had. Like it is so dumb. My other thing was, why does the Umbrella Corporation have like no security guards or no anything?
Right.
Like if this is so important, I was so confused. I was like, why is there no security? Why is there nobody at this facility at night? Like nobody.
Well, and what I think is hilarious is um Umbrella is a pharmaceutical company, right? Um and by the time we get to like the so there's the past stuff and then there's the future stuff, right? In the future stuff, they're basically like stormtroopers in the Empire and stuff, but they're supposed to just be a pharmaceutical company. Um I'll go ahead and let you know that there's some stupid revelations that happen later on.
Oh, did you watch more of it?
Oh yeah, I couldn't stop.
Okay.
Um,
Like I know that the sister is going to come back in some form.
yeah,
Uh, here,
I'll go ahead and let you know that I can't remember. Has he already like he's taken their blood and taken it downstairs, right?
he's like injecting himself with it. Um, but I don't know if he's taking it downstairs. I was kind of half watching after the first episode because I was like, okay,
Yeah,
I fulfilled my obligations to
yeah,
Caleb.
right, yeah.
Um,
But so I'll go ahead and let you know that part of the reason that he's taking their blood is because he's testing their blood to see. He's trying to protect them and make
oh,
sure.
yeah, he has been looking through a microscope at
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
it's not interesting at all. He is just making sure they don't have COVID.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've read. Have you watched all of it, or?
Yes.
So I mean, I read some spoilers. Spoilers for this dumb show is that they're clones of him or something.
No, no. So he is a clone.
Oh, he's a clone.
Right. So the original Albert Wesker is like evil Morpheus looking guy. And so their dad
Um,
is a clone of so there are a bunch Lance Reddick plays clones of himself. So like there's this one that's not too smart that they call Bert. Um
God.
yeah.
The
Uh
other thing that struck me, two things. One is the main character, the main girl, is very unlikable. Like
yes,
I
yes,
do not
absolutely.
care for this character at all, and I hope she dies every episode. The other thing is not only are the good guys stupid, the bad guys are also stupid.
hmm
Like when they showed up at a scavenger camp, there's like open fire before they had her in custody. You take her into custody first, and then you kill everybody.
Right. No, it's
Ugh.
I don't this is definitely one of those shows where like someone had an idea for a show and then um they go to Netflix. Hey, I got this pitch for a zombie show. Um and then they're like, "Hey, this is cool. We got a good zombie show. We actually have Resident Evil. What if we slap the name Resident Evil on it? I guess we could do that.
Well, and apparently, and I don't know how true this is. I watched a lot of different live streams, and there's the argument that that there's an agenda in Hollywood to make things woke, and apparently there's some high muckety muck at Netflix that keeps changing these shows and putting stuff in there. And like something similar happened to the recent He-Man cartoon. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. Um, so it would not surprise me if someone's like, "Oh, we got to add this and that and whatever to the show." And but there's a
Uh,
lot of changes going on at Netflix right now because they're running out of money. So you're seeing a lot of this stuff get canceled and never made. Uh, I've heard it's very unlikely that there will be a season 2 of this. Um, so
I'd rather have a sequel to Welcome to Raccoon City. I actually didn't mind that one.
is that the latest movie that came out?
Yeah, that's the one that had like
Okay.
Robbie Amell as Chris Riffle. Honestly, I would like them keep going with those W.S. Anderson movies. I actually like
Oh
those
yeah, they're
movies.
not. I mean, they're stupid, but they're not. She's a very likable character.
I love Alice. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So Resident Evil. Yeah. Go watch a playthrough of The Village or something else. It's way more entertaining than this.
Play the remakes. I think Resident Evil 2 remake is like the greatest remake in video game history.
I've reached a weird point where I don't like playing scary games, but I enjoy watching other people get scared and play those games. It's
Oh yeah,
weird.
yeah. I mean
Um,
that's what Markiplier made his money off of.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So we are doing the summer of stinkers, and the He Made Me Do It, where we take turns like each other watch stuff. This was Caleb's revenge for Cool as Ice.
Yep.
So I'm going to flip it back at him with one of my actual favorite movies, but it is terrible. And this is kind of, people say, the king of bad films. We're going Troll 2.
Uh,
This movie is hilarious without riff tracks. It is so funny. You have a director writer team from a foreign country who did not speak English, so the crew did not understand them. And apparently, she was trying to make a statement about vegetarianism, about how it's evil or something. I'm not sure. But this movie, it just has to be seen to be believed. I could start telling you stuff about it, and you'd be like, "What?"
you know what? How about this? Go ahead. I love like hearing stuff out of context and it doesn't make sense. Tell me one thing out of context so
There
that
is
way.
a scene where a kid saves his family by standing up on the dinner table and peeing on all the food.
Oh man, that is the JoJo's out of context I want to hear. Um,
Uh,
like a
I've seen
classic like a
the,
classic JoJo's out of context is a man uses his stand to punch a salad because he thought it was suspicious.
it's not called Power Rangers, whatever it's called in Japan.
Super
Uh,
Sentai.
yeah, the internet hiccup there for a second. Yeah, Super Sentai out of context. Those are very funny to watch.
Oh, is you talking about the kid?
I don't know. I've seen several clips where it's just
Okay.
out of context. It's just insanity.
There's this one that's really funny because it actually made it into Power Rangers because they couldn't edit it out of it. But like apparently in the Sentai, the episode had to do with like this kid or something. And so during the Megazord fight, the kid also grows really tall. And so he's like hiding behind the Megazord and like behind the behind the leg and whatever, but they couldn't take it out. So in Power Rangers, there's an episode where in one scene there is a kid hiding behind a Megazord for no reason. Just a little Asian boy.
That's amazing.
I'll have to see if I can find it and I'll show you later.
Okay, yeah, send that to me. But yeah, Troll 2, it is on, I think, Pluto TV. If you cannot remember the name of this, please tell me, or you can't find it. I don't want you watching Troll or Troll 3 or something else.
It'll be hard to forget Troll 2. That is a very simple.
Yes.
Um,
There's so many things I could tell you about this movie, but we'll wait till next week after you've seen it. In fact, I think I'm going to rewatch this week because I just love this movie so much. So, all right, that is our show for tonight. Hope you've enjoyed this stressful lifeboat scenario. I think it's fun to think about. It's a fun mental exercise. We'll revisit it with some other concepts in the future. But until then, I've been Final Monkey,
and I'm Caleb.
and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
See ya.